Welcome back. Right now, we're going to talk about a health topic for Health and Wellness Thursday that many people don't like to discuss. Menopause can cause many jokes, there's a stigma around it, misinformation, all types of things that surround this condition. And we've got a physician here who's a professor at Yale University School of Medicine, Dr. Mary Jane Minkin, to clear up some of these misperceptions and issues and to let us know about some treatments and such. Dr. Minkin, thanks for being here. How are you?
Hi, Christine. I'm fine. More importantly, how are you? And thanks for asking me to be with you.
I'm doing well, and we're going to just start right in with hot flashes. This is something that many women talk about, and there's some definitely misinformation floating around that. What do you tell your patients about this condition?
Well, first of all, to give them some fancy terminology, I will tell people, of course, that hot flashes are medically referred to as vasomotor symptoms. So if you want to sound fancy, you can talk about them that way. And what I always tell people is, unfortunately, this is a very, very common problem. They're an excellent company. Indeed, about 80% of women going through the menopause transition are going to experience these hot flashes. And unfortunately, they hang around for a while. We're talking about something that lasts for a median of 7.4 years, but unfortunately, some women will be dealing with this for 10 years or more. So this is a really important problem.
And it seems that more often than not, when hot flashes are discussed, it's in a joking way, or it's just in a way that makes fun of people and women who are having this condition. How do you describe them, though? What is the correct terminology to these, and what really happens?
Well, you're absolutely right, Christine, that indeed that people will oftentimes really make fun of this. And you got to remember, when some people say, oh, it's all in your head, that's what you're dealing with. You know what women can say is, you're right, it is all in my head. Because where these changes are happening is at the base of the brain, in a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, which is really our internal thermostat. And what's happening as we go through the menopausal transition, we're getting hot, okay? And we're trying to figure out, our brain's trying to figure out, how can we get rid of this heat? How can we dissipate it? So what will happen is we'll get hot, we'll sweat, and then we can get cold. And so chills can be part of this whole problem too. And it's really nothing for people to, making fun of. So it is a really, really important problem, these vasomotor symptoms or hot flashes that women are experiencing.
What about night sweats? How do they tie into hot flashes, and do they happen during the day as well?
Well, the hot flashes, of course, we tend to use that terminology for what's going on during the day. And when they happen at night, they oftentimes are referred to as night sweats. And a couple things, though, to remember, that this thermostat that we talked about, well, all of this in the hypothalamus, the sleep center's there too, okay? So what'll happen is that we will awaken at night when all these changes are going on. We'll get sweaty, we'll wake up, okay? We may then get cold. And what happens at night is this can be really disruptive to your sleep. And if this cycle goes on and on, it's really problematic, because the next day that we're going to be really grumpy. And these are real problems. And that's part of the reason I'm excited to partner with the Astellas folks to educate women about these important changes and to work on getting women feeling better. That's really important.
What can women do, and what's the takeaway from all of this?
Well, there are a lot of things that women can do. I mean, for example, with the night sweats, women will get hot, they'll get sweaty, they'll get cold, and they'll get drenched in perspiration and want to wake. Take off that nightgown that's all sweaty, keep a nice dry nightgown next to your bed, climb back into bed and try to go to sleep. And of course, one of the things we encourage women to do is to keep the room as cool as possible. These tend to be less problematic. But of course, if we've got a partner next to us, we've got to take care of this person. So indeed, I encourage people to get an electric blanket with dual control so that they can keep their partners warm. And of course, what's happening during the day when women get these, hot flashes during the day, it's getting cooler out. We're heading into fall here, and women are going to start wearing sweaters. Well, what happens is in the middle of the day, they make it pretty hot. So I encourage everybody, simple thing, just to keep a shell on underneath your sweater so you can pull off that sweater and be decent and get your temperature better regulated. So there's some simple lifestyle changes that women can do to help get themselves better. And of course, we always encourage women to talk to their friends too about these changes.
And Dr. Minkin, where can we go for more information about this and to learn, especially if you're having these symptoms?
Well, there's a really nice new website called whatsvms.com. So again, that's whatsvms.com. A lot of excellent information there. And of course, I'd always encourage women to talk with their healthcare providers, because, your healthcare provider can help give you some important information too.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mary Jane Minkin, for joining us today. Really appreciate your time talking about this very common condition that many experience. We have much more to get to this morning on Mountain Connections, and we'll be back right after this.